What's up, my fellow comic book readers? Guys, I read 13 Marvel comics last night, and we're gonna yap about all 13 of them. Okay, we're gonna go in my short form videos. I'm doing 1 through 6 and then 7 through 13, quick, and not so much yapping. I'm just trying to get to the point so I can stay under my 3 minutes. In my YouTube videos, when I do my reviews, I don't have a limit. So we're gonna yap about these. I want you guys to interact with it. Let me know what you think. If you agree, disagree, like it, don't like it, whatever. Let's talk about comics, okay? So we're gonna start off with my 13th out of 13. This is my least favorite Marvel that I read, and this is actually the only one that I was not really too much of a fan of. Okay, I think if you're young and you're getting into Marvel, I think The Thing is a great starting point. It's got action, it's got very juvenile dialogue, it's got good lessons in it. It's a good comic book. Like, if you're a parent and you're looking for something for your kid to read, this is good influence material, okay? But it's just, as an adult reader who, I'm not Marvel exclusive, I read everything, right? And maybe indie comics and DC have spoiled me with their rated R content, but Marvel just has a bad habit of every once in a while they'll make a run and it's just too PG for me. And The Thing is falling under that. So I think issue number 4 is going to be the last issue that I pick up of Thing. Again, I think it's a good comic book. It's good quality. There's nothing necessarily wrong with it per se. It's just not, it's not for adults, I don't think. That's my take on The Thing. So number 13 of 13. And I will say, out of my other 12, my 1, 2, and 3 are pretty much my 1, 2, and 3. But 4 through 12, they could very interchangeable. I thought 4 through 12 was all really solid reading. And let's start off. This is my number 12. I did rank them, but again, somebody could persuade me to move this up to number 4. You know what I mean? Even though it's my number 12. We got Imperial War Exiles. I will be honest, I didn't know pretty much anybody in this other than the short amount of time that I read Imperial, right? But it turns out that in this book, the ruler and her sister are Professor X, which you see Professor X and his wife, and then you see the leader and his sister, which are Professor X's kids. I didn't know Professor X had kids. I know that's probably common knowledge if you've been reading X-Men for a long time. I haven't read anything X-Men yet. I have some X-Men. Shout out to Codex Station, also on YouTube. He sent me some X-Men comics to read. I just haven't got around to them. It's just not something that is calling to me right now. I do want to eventually read them. I'm going to eventually read them. I just haven't started. But this was a great little oh shit, Professor X has kids. And it was a pretty solid story. But I will say, they announced at the end of this that there's going to be an Exiles number 1 coming out, I think in December, I want to say. I could be wrong. Anywhere between October and December, there's an Exiles number 1 coming out. So I thought this was a great issue. What's the girl's name? Professor X's daughter. She's the leader. The mutants on that planet are trying to overthrow her and become the leaders themselves. They're making up stuff to try to overthrow her. She has to run away, and Professor X comes in there right before she's about to be killed and saves her so that she can run away. And there's a lot of action, a lot of implications into what's going on with Imperial. So if you're into the Imperial storyline, if you're into X-Men, this is a great comic. I would definitely recommend it. Next up, we got my number 11 out of 13, The Imperial, number 3. Okay, again, there's a lot of lore going on in here, but I thought this was a great issue because there's two masterminds trying to deceive each other into one thing, right? And then they wager a lot on each other. The Inhumans, and then the other one is wagering helping the Inhumans start a war between all the big factions so that they can sneak in, right? So there's a lot going on in here, but again, not being strictly Marvel, I think there's too much for the average Marvel or the average fan. And if you're big into Marvel, this is, again, it's something you're drooling over when you're reading it because they're incorporating so many people. You got Nova, you got Quinn, you got Hulk, you got Black Panther. You got all kinds of big name characters in here. And they're all at war, and they're trying to find out why they don't even know why they're at war. They're all convinced that something is happening, but what they think is happening isn't actually happening. There's a lot going on in this. I'm enjoying it, but I do feel like there's a lot of information that maybe a year from now, after I've read a lot more comics, I can come back and read this and be like, oh, I know that guy. Oh, I recommend, you know what I mean? But I thought this was pretty good. Just a lot of information. All right. So 13, 12, 11, this is my number 10. We got the New Avengers issue number 3. The New Avengers are trying to track down Hulk. They find him on like page 1. And then Clea gets them inside of Hulk's brain after they neutralize Hulk for like 2 minutes, because, you know, you can zap Hulk, but he's not going to stay down very long. But he's down for like 2 minutes. They go inside of his brain, talk to Bruce Banner. Clea opens up a door so they can go in there and talk to Bruce Banner whenever they want, but then they get out of there so that Hulk doesn't kill them, right? But it's funny because all of them have different characters, right? Like Namor's handling Hulk a little bit, but Laura Kinney is like whooping Hulk's ass for a little bit because he's still a little bit dazed, right? And then they're like, Wolverine, we gotta go. So they all ditch out, and Laura Kinney's like, no, I'm whooping his ass. Let me stay here. And they're like pulling him off. It's hilarious, right? And then when they all leave, and they're because Clea takes them to Japan because she gets like a reading that the clone of her husband is in Japan and he's doing something. So they go there, and when they first get there, Laura Kinney's like pissed off, and they're like, and she's like she's talking out loud, like people can see what hear what she's saying. But she's like, oh, Laura Kinney, you're so great. You were whooping the Hulk's ass all by yourself. Thank you. You're the best. Blah. And everybody's like, we don't like you. But then Laura Kinney and Carnage, Brock and Carnage show up, right? And first they're fighting the Avengers, but find out that they're not there to fight each other. They're just like, they naturally started fighting each other. And then they stop Carnage. I think I said Venom. Carnage. They stop Carnage from attacking Bucky, and then they go after the clone of Professor X, and they take him out. And then Carnage is like, okay, I'm gonna do my thing. But while they're at the very end, something happens to Namor, which is gonna drive what happens in issue number 4. But I think just the uniqueness of all the characters in this makes this comic book really fun to read, and I'm really enjoying reading this. So if you haven't picked up New Avengers yet, it is not like the movie New Avengers. It is not like the New Avengers movie. I'm going to say it a third time. It is not the New Avengers movie. So if you're picking this up because you're like, oh, I watched the movie, I want to read the comic for it, this is not them. It's not even the same group of people other than Bucky, okay? And Black Widow, I think, right? Right? Wasn't Black Widow in the New Avengers? I think so. I can't remember. But they're the only two. Namor's in it, Laura Kinney, we got Black Widow, Bucky, Namor, Clea, and then the Hulk is part of the team also, but the Hulk doesn't want to join, but Bruce Banner does, so... And Bruce Banner's trapped inside Hulk right now, so pretty solid. All right, next up, in 13, 12, 11, 10, we got number 9, Jeff the Land Shark, issue number 3. This is just, it's clever, it's funny. You got Jeff the Shark, he's chasing his shadow that happened when he was in Doctor Strange's laboratory, like in the Sanctum Sanctorum, Sanctum, whatever that's called. Jeff's in there, release a shadow, so now he's chasing down his shadow. This issue starts off with him in there with Rogue and Gambit, and they're, Rogue uses her powers to be able to talk shark. So I thought that was pretty cool and clever of them. So they're talking, and Gambit's like saying stuff, and Jeff's like, I'll bite you type thing, And then Jeff jumps through the portal and then comes out, and then there's Psylocke and Wolverine just talking, and they're like, oh shit, what are you doing here? And then there's a pill or a gem that Jeff eats that gives him Wolverine's powers. So if you want to see Jeff with Wolverine claws fighting, pick this up. But it's funny, and at the end, Jeff's shadow does something which is going to dictate what happens in issue number 4. So this is pretty lighthearted. I'm enjoying it, and I definitely recommend it, especially if you're a Jeff fan. All right. So I swear I have a brain injury, so I can't remember shit, so I got to keep counting. 13, 12, 11, 10, 9. Next up, we got number 8. We got Black Cat, issue number 1. I'm enjoying Black Cat. It feels like they're trying to force her being like an anti-hero into this. Like, it's just too convenient of everything that's happening. I do like how they have like a a mutual doctor that helps all the good guys and bad guys. So they're like in the waiting room, and it's kind of like professional wrestling, right? Like in front of the screen, everybody's like, I'll kill you if I see you, you know what I mean? And then like you go to their house and they're in the same backyard barbecuing, drinking beer together, right? It kind of felt like this in Black Cat. She's in the waiting room because she gets messed up by the lizard. She gets messed up by the lizard, and you know, it leaves a claw mark on her arm. So she goes to go get stitched up, and when she gets there, the lizard is in the waiting room waiting to get patched up also. So I thought it was funny. Frog, I can't remember the frog's name. The one that just says ribbit all the time. Frog, whatever, is in there also. So you get a little appearance of him or her. But this is a pretty solid issue, and I will say, if you pick up comic books specifically for thirst traps, there is a page dedicated to your pleasure in here. We'll say that, okay? And then next up, we got number 7. I didn't have to count this time. Number 7, Moon Knight Fist of Khonshu. This is starting off after he got the Midnight Mansion back. And then the guy with the crowbar, I can't think of his name right now, but it's something generic like the Breaker or the Vandal or something like that, right? The guy that freed Khonshu from his prison off planet so that he could revive Mark Spector comes to collect from Mark Spector, and he's like, hey, you owe me. I know I got paid. I know we already did this, blah, 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 but you still owe me because I'm a bad guy and I make my own rules, right? So he convinces Moon Knight that he has to help him. So Moon Knight's helping him fight off specters and stuff. And then the Scarab, dang, I can't think of her name, but something Scarab comes around and is like, Mark, what are you doing? Like, I was allowing those specters to haunt him because he killed them, you know? So a little bit of a spoiler right there. But I really like this issue. I will say I'm missing Dev Promnick's art, mainly because, you know, I'm a Dev Promnick fanboy, so like, I appreciate seeing Dev Promnick's name up here. I enjoy seeing his art. I follow him on all social medias because he shares with us his art, and I really appreciate that of him because he's such a big name. He doesn't have to do that, so I respect him. I love his shit, so I want to see more of his work being published. So when I don't see his name up here, I'm like, come on, Marvel, bring him back. You know what I mean? And I know he's working on other projects right now. He's not like canned or anything. I miss seeing his name up there. You know what I mean? All right, next up we got issue number 3 of Silver Surfer. This is my number 6. I thought this was a pretty solid issue. Silver Surfer gets captured by Ko and the bad guys, but Ko's working for the bad guys, but she's not a bad person. She's just kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place because she's trying to take care of her mom. Silver Surfer's trying to sympathize with her, and then the Fantastic Four show up, which you can kind of see on the cover. This is the A cover, by the way, I think, right? Yeah, this is the A cover. The Fantastic Four show up, and they're like, Ko, you got to release him. And then she starts whooping the Fantastic Four's ass. But on the ship, they have Hulk, they have Scar captured, they have Silver Surfer captured, they have a bunch of other people captured, and they have all the technology to do that. So the Fantastic Four show up, and they're like half-assing this fight. And I'm like, I'm reading this, and I'm like, if they keep just like half-assing being nice to her, she's just going to whoop their ass and take them captive. And she doesn't take them captive in this issue, but she whoops their ass for a little bit. She ignites the Human Torch, like, where he can't control himself. She, like, knocks out the thing. Like, he's about to say, like, it's clobbering time, but, like, mid-sentence, she punches him. And, like, but I thought this was a great issue. I definitely recommend this, especially if you're a Silver Surfer or a Fantastic Four fan, or I think those are the only two that are really big in it. The Scar Hulk's son is mentioned in this, but not really like part of it, right? All right. So next up, we got issue number 1. It's a one-shot. Imperial War Black Panther. This is my number 6. This is my second favorite Imperial War. I got another one that's next up, but I thought this was a great issue. Black Panther is doing everything possible to remain a good guy, and he's, calling in favors from other good guys, but, they've done him wrong. So he's like, hey, we have a mutual goal right now, so we have to work together on this, but don't think that I'm going to forget that you did me wrong. I'm going to fuck you up later type stuff, you know what I mean? Because he's still looking for his sister. His sister was taken captive by the people that are helping him, but they passed her on to somebody else, and he's like, we got a mutual goal right now, so I'm going to work with you, but I know what you did, and you're going to pay for it. And they both agree to that. The other person was like, yeah, for now, like, let's just work together, and then later we can kill each other type stuff. And in this one also, Hulk is convinced that Black Panther killed Hulk's son. So Hulk is trying to kill Black Panther, and Black Panther's like, oh, I understand why he's trying to kill me, and I'm trying to remain the good guy here, so, like, I'm going to evade all of his punches and try not to hurt him, and I'm just trying to escape because I want to get out of his way, you know what I mean? And then Hulk is talking to Amadeus, and Hulk is just like, why, if he has nothing to hide, why is he running from me? Which I thought was a good, like, undertone to, like, what's going on in the world today, right? And I know Marvel has always been really good about, like, making you read between the lines and making you maybe see something from a different light. Because Black Panther is trying to run from Hulk, even though he did nothing wrong. So Hulk points out, if he did nothing wrong, why is he running from me? And Amadeus is like, well, probably because you're trying to kill him. You can take from that what you want, but this was a great issue. I definitely recommend, if you're a Black Panther fan, if you're a fan of the series Imperial, just pick it up, because all the one shots definitely, like, are either announcing, like, Black Panther's going into Imperial. Exiles is going into Exiles #1, which is coming out soon. Imperial War, Planet She-Hulk, which is next up, is my number 5. This is going into a new She-Hulk comic that's coming out that I will definitely be picking up. I will say Stephanie Phillips is killing it. This is my number 5, right? Nope, sorry. This is my number 4. And Stephanie Phillips is going to be mentioned again in my top 3. So she's killing it right now. So shout out to Stephanie Phillips. But this was great. There was a lot of funny, like, one-liners. She-Hulk is trying to figure out the mystery of who killed this guy on the planet Sakaar, and come to find out, the people, it's not one person that killed him, it's a group of people. And I'm sorry if that's a spoiler. You probably can read between the lines there. Full loop, right? Probably read between the lines, but you find out who did it, and then she's like, all right, you're all under arrest. And then her advisor on Sakaar is like, actually what they did isn't illegal on this planet. And she's like, then why have I been trying to discover who killed this person? And her advisor's just like, I just thought you were bored and needed something to do. So the whole issue is, like, her being serious and, like, trying to figure shit out, and then come to find out, like, everybody's just kind of watching her for amusement. You know what I mean? Like, it was a funny issue. I enjoyed it, and then it leads in at the very end. Is, it says, like, to be continued, and She-Hulk issue #1. I think it comes out again between October and December. But this was a fantastic issue. Stephanie Phillips, she killed it again. All right, so I got 3 Stephanie Phillips that I read today, and all 3 of them were. No, I lied. 2 Stephanie Phillips. But either way, Stephanie Phillips is killing it. Anyways, the Mortal Thor, not the Immortal Thor, because the Immortal Thor is now the Mortal Thor, okay? This is issue #1 of the Mortal Thor. This is my 3rd favorite comic. This is a solidified. This could be 2 or 3, but it's definitely a top 3 of the 13 that I read today. This was a great start to the series. The Thor is just a regular Joe guy that all he knows about himself is his name, which is Alias, and then he knows that he carries a hammer, right? And then he got helped. He doesn't know how he got helped or who really helped him. He knows the person, but he doesn't know who the person is. I think the person is Loki. I didn't read the Immortal Thor, so I'm not 100% sure. If you read the Immortal Thor, you know probably who it is. I don't know if it showed at the end. Anyways, all he knows is that he likes carrying around his hammer and he likes working with his hammer. So he goes to this place where he thinks he's going to get a job because he mentions, like, hey, rent's due. I got to get money, so I got to go get a job. Somebody leads him to a job site. He gets to the job site, finds out that it's a bunch of people that are trying to screw over some good people. So Thor's a good guy. Even though he doesn't know who he is, he knows that he's a good guy. So he decides, and he's very vocal about it. He's like, no, you guys are trying to screw over some good people. I'm not trying to be a part of that. So I'm going to go about being my good guy. And then the main guy that's like recruiting sends his lackeys out to go take care of Thor and remind him to keep his mouth shut when bad shit's happening. And Thor does some Thor shit with his hammer. I'll say it was a little bit gorier than what I'm used to from Marvel. Like, they could have made this a red band. And you're looking at this cover and you're like, oh, like it's going to be like lighthearted, Thor getting back on his feet. The fight scenes in this, Jesus. Gory. But I love this issue. Number 2 on my list, again, this could be 1, 2, or 3. This could be 1, 2, or 3, honestly. Doctor Strange issue number 450. This is a anthology, so it has 3 or 4 different stories. There's some stuff in here that I didn't know, which is why this is so high. There's stories about his past, but they're cool stories. They're not like dead-end stories that's just like, a writer and artist's chance to like rehash the old days, because they do bring in some old writers. You got Landy, Straczynski, Allen, Stern, so it's 4 different stories going on here. And then the last one leads into, the last one says to be continued, because the first 3 stories, they're the end of the story, because they're just like a recap of something that happened like years ago, like the cape and like what the cape actually is. And then there's a story about Doctor Strange helping a guy deal with something that's going on. It turns out that it's a ghost that's doing what's happening and not somebody trying to hurt him, but a good ghost, right? And then, there's just good stories. And then, like I said, it leaves you on kind of like a little bit of a cliffhanger to get ready for the next run for Doctor Strange. So I'm looking forward to the next Doctor Strange series. I think Doctor Strange is one of my top 5 favorite characters. So I thought this was a great issue, and I'm looking forward to the upcoming Doctor Strange. And then my number 1, I said Doctor Strange could be my number 1. I don't think so. I think this is my clear-cut number 1. Again, shout out to Stephanie Phillips. The last run of Spider-Gwen, the first 10 plus issues, were like my favorite ongoing Marvel. And then I thought the last 2 issues, I was not a fan of at all. The issue number 14 of the last run was it didn't impress me at all. I'm just going to say that. I don't want to badmouth, because I'm literally sitting here and being like, Stephanie Phillips should kill it. So I don't want to talk about your previous. Again, I guess I'm giving praise and then saying I don't like how it ended. So please don't have this end like your last run ended. Stephanie, please, if you watch this by some miracle, okay? Keep this quality. This was amazing. It's the start of Spider-Gwen living her life. She got her dad back. She's got her band back. She's got a love interest. Some gory fighting happens in here where people are getting murked. Great fight scenes, great love scenes. As a dad, I'm listening to the dad talk to Gwen, and I'm kind of getting emotional. So, I got the full range of emotions in this 20-issue banger. And the art is fantastic. The writing is fantastic. Everything about this definitely deserves its praise. If you're not reading Spider-Gwen, Ghost Spider right now, you need to pick it up. Pick it up. It's just as good as the beginning of the last run, and I'm hoping it continues. Again, shout out. I keep saying her name, Stephanie Phillips. You're killing it. I love this. And that's my number 1. But even if you're not going to read any of those 13 that I just recommended, even if you've just made it this far, I appreciate you. But if you're not going to read any of those, pick something up today. I don't care if it's a newspaper, a magazine article, another comic, a book, whatever. Pick something up, read it, stimulate that mind, and have a great day.